Shalom, everyone. How's everybody out there? Hope y'all doing well. Uh, Feeling relaxed and feeling good, and feeling His rest and His Spirit dwelling in you. So today, I was reading an article about gene editing, and I wanted to talk about it. Open up about get biblical with it and scriptural. Just see what the scriptures have to say on the whole thing. I'm going to start with something real, not speculation, not opinion. It's an actual news article, and I'll have a link down below. And this one comes from People magazine. The headline talks about the first baby to receive a personalized gene editing therapy taking his first steps. So the doctors involved are calling it a miracle, and I think his father as well. So whether you see this as hopeful, concerning, or somewhere in between, it's not science fiction anymore. This is happening. Before anything else, let me be clear. This isn't about condemning a child, the parents. That's not what this is about. This is about discernment. Yahusha warned us very plainly about the last days. Matthew chapter 24, verse 4 says, Yahusha answered and said to them, take heed that no one deceives you. He didn't say panic. He didn't say speculate. He said pay attention, pretty much. So pay attention, right? Take heed, pay attention that no one deceives you. So from the very beginning, scripture is clear about something. Yahuwah is the creator, not man. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and 27 tells us, then Elohim said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Humanity is created in the image of Elohim, not engineered, not optimized, not upgraded. Now, I know this child had a rare disease too, so like I said, I'm not condemning this child or the parents and what they chose to do, but I just wanted to point this out, what it could lead to. So Psalms 139, verse 13, 16 says, For you formed my inward parts, you covered me in my mother's womb. So the scriptures matter, the language matters in scripture. Scripture says formed, right? Knit together, designed. So healing damage later in life is one thing, yes, but editing the blueprint itself is a different conversation. It's going way beyond. This reminds me of Genesis 6. Now, Yahusha specifically points us back to the days of Noah. Genesis 6, 11 and 12 said, the earth was corrupt before Elohim, for all flesh had corrupted its way on the earth. That phrase has always stood out to me. All flesh has had been corrupted, right? So that's not just your behavior, not just violence, but something deeper. Scripture does not give us explanations, but it does tell us boundaries were crossed, and Yahuwah took it seriously. A lot of people will debate whether they were fallen angels or they were the sons of man, which was actual humans. I believe it was, in my opinion, it was actual angels came down and gave up their heavenly bodies and their heavenly powers in a way, because they left the Shamayins. So this is my opinion on it, but they mixed their DNA is what happened. So like it is as in the days of Noah, right? Matthew 24, 37, 39 says, but as the days of Noah were, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be. So when the Son of Man comes, it's going to be like the days of Noah. Are we going to see giants, Nephilim? I don't know. But we are messing with DNA that Yahuwah created. It's really sounding what the Nazis were trying to do pretty much with the concentration camps, making the ultimate Aryan race. So life looks normal, but people were eating and drinking and marrying, right? Everybody's all kumbaya, everything was good. Noah was preaching, nobody was listening, and then the flood came. The corruption wasn't obvious to everyone, and that's the point. Yahusha wasn't saying history repeats the same way. He was warning about patterns. So when we hear about things like gene editing, or when I hear things like gene editing, the goal isn't to jump to conclusion, but it's worth stopping and asking, are we crossing boundaries? Are we crossing a boundary that we shouldn't be crossing, that are not meant to be crossed? Editing human DNA at the very beginning of life isn't just another medical step, it's a threshold. So I'm not saying this is Genesis 6 repeated exactly. I am saying the pattern of pushing past God-given limits feels familiar. There's a thing, it's people, it's a system, right? There's also this system of elite, these globalists. So in Daniel chapter 2, verse 43, it says, they will mingle with the seed of men, but they will not cling to one another. So, Daniel doesn't explain that. He just flags it, right? He has a prophecy. So in Revelation, doesn't describe a world terrified of power. It describes a world impressed by it. All this technology coming around, we do get impressed by it, but it can be used for good or it can be used for evil, right? Anything. Even the scriptures have been used for evil by man, for power. So Revelation 13, 3-4 says, and all the world marveled and followed the beast. So the Antichrist doesn't appear out of nowhere. He appears in a world conditioned to trust systems, solutions, and progress more than to trust Yahuwah or Elohim. We're indoctrinated pretty much. We're starting to see where good is considered bad and bad is considered good. It's freedom, all that stuff. So I'm going to say it plainly because it does matter. I don't want people to think that's what I'm saying. Like the baby is not the Antichrist. I'm not saying this baby is. No child is evil. The child does not become evil, right? That's why I don't understand when people like Catholic or Lutheran, they baptize children thinking, no, they're going to go to hell if they don't get baptized. They're already, they're already pure. They're clean. They have not been corrupted yet. So, Scripture does not teach that. So what Scripture does teach is that deception grows slowly. Through ideas, you repeat something over and over again, you'll start to believe it. Culture and normalization. Let's go to 1 Peter 5:8, and it says, be sober, be vigilant. Test the spirits, whether they are of Elohim. That's in 1 John chapter 4, verse 1. Well, I believe the last days are going to be about humanity forgetting who the Creator is. That's what I believe. If this continues, which it will, we don't fear technology. People, I say personally, I don't fear technology, and I do not fear the future because I know where I'm at right now with my salvation. I know where I'm at with my relationship with Yahuwah. Anything can be used for good and evil, like I said before. But we need to, stay sober-minded. We need to stay watchful. We don't want to jump to conclusions. A lot of people they'll see this article and be like, oh no. My head thought that too, but it could lead to something that shouldn't be done because Yahuwah is our creator. He created our DNA, and creation belongs to him. So with that, I just want to make a quick video, and you guys can see the link to the article down below. It is a Sabbath. Shabbat matters. Shabbat reminds us that creation has an order, that we're not in control, that Yahuwah is. We do not fear the future. We do not fear technology, but we do want to use it for good. But obviously there are those that are not believers of Yahuwah that believe in evil things that, of course, have funding, and they will be using it for things against Yahuwah. It's like the Tower of Babel. They wanted to keep building, getting higher up to the heavens. And then Yahuwah shut that down. So he's going to shut it down again because he's the creator and creation belongs to him. So that's what I really wanted to say. It's just something to think about. We're starting to see, I'm not prophesying them, but I'm seeing prophecy unfold in my opinion. We're getting closer to the end times with everything going on in the world. So take this Shabbat and stay restful and do not fear what is coming, because that is the day of Yahuwah that is coming. And for us that are believers who believe and confess the blood of Yahusha HaMashiach, we have a place in the new kingdom, new heaven, and we should be rejoicing, joyful about that. So Thank you. Hope you enjoyed. Have a great rest of the Sabbath. Shalom.